Sometimes the best discoveries aren't on the itinerary. Sometimes you follow a hunch, or in my case, a historic marker, and find yourself standing in the footprints of 19th century engineers who pulled off something no one else ever dared to try again. I was supposed to be parking somewhere deep in the woods to chase the ruins of Seneca Quarry, but Murph, as usual, had other plans. The spot looked way too sketchy, so I rerouted and landed here, at a quiet bend in the Potomac, where 2 centuries of history and ingenuity still meet in red stone. What if the only way to cross a river was to build another river on top of it? What if you had to build a bridge and a canal lock, not side by side, but as one? This is America's lost engineering trick. A bridge and a lock fused together into a single, breathtaking machine of water and stone. Welcome to Riley's Lock and the Seneca Aqueduct. Back in the early 1800s, America was obsessed with one big idea: linking its coasts and carving prosperity straight through the wilderness. Before the age of railroads, canals were the future. Man-made rivers stretching hundreds of miles, carrying timber, coal, and grain where nature's rivers refused to go. The Chesapeake and Ohio Canal, or C&O, was the crown jewel. 184 miles of locks, towpaths, and aqueducts built right beside the Potomac River. Engineers built 74 locks to lift and lower boats, and 11 aqueducts to float them over the creeks feeding the river. 2 different problems, 2 different solutions. Until they reached mile 22.7, Seneca Creek. The land here was uneven, the water swift. They needed both an aqueduct and a lock in the exact same place. Every textbook failed them. The project froze. And then, someone broke the rules. In 1829, they came up with something so wild, it's never been repeated. They built both structures as one. The Seneca Aqueduct, a triple-arched bridge of red sandstone, carried canal water over the creek and directly into Lock 24, built into its eastern end. Boats would glide across the aqueduct, floating high above the rushing creek, then slip into the lock where the water lowered them 8 feet to continue downstream. One structure, 2 functions. Elegant, efficient, brilliant. A literal naviduct. Part bridge, part water elevator, and completely one of a kind. The builders were immigrants, Irish, Scottish, German, armed with picks, shovels, and grit. They quarried the deep red Seneca sandstone just a short walk away. It's the only aqueduct on the entire canal made from this material, and in sunlight it glows like embers. Like the walls themselves remember the heat of the forge that shaped them. Those same blocks would later build the Smithsonian Castle in D.C. Some stones still bear the initials of the men who carved them. Tiny, time-worn signatures etched into immortality. By 1832, the job was done. A masterpiece of ingenuity that cost $32,000 then, nearly $1 million today. For almost a century, this place thrummed with life. Barges creaked through the lock day and night, carrying coal, flour, whiskey, and yes, more of that famous redstone. John C. Riley, the final lock keeper, took over in 1892. He lived with his family right beside the water in the little sandstone lock house that still stands. He became so tied to the place that people stopped calling it Lock 24 and started calling it Riley's Lock. But progress doesn't wait. The railroads came, faster and cheaper. By 1924, floods shut down the canal for good. The water drained away, the gates rotted, the towpath fell silent. Then came the flood of 1971. Raging water tore out the aqueduct's western arch, leaving a gaping wound where perfection used to be. The National Park Service stepped in, not to erase the damage, but to honor it. They stabilized what remained, braced it with steel beams, and added a pedestrian bridge so the old towpath could live on. That scar tells the story now. It's proof that even the strongest structures carry their history in plain sight. A 2023 restoration replaced the aging bridge, so visitors can still walk the same path canal boats once floated, and cross over both the creek and time itself. Today, this is one of the most peaceful corners of the C&O Canal National Historic Park. Kayakers launch beneath the arches, families picnic beside the lock house, fishermen cast lines into the Potomac's slow breath just beyond the trees. And if you pause halfway across the aqueduct, you can see the deep red stone glowing against the green. The same quarry walls I was trying to reach when Murph rerouted the mission. I ended up with something far better than I planned. A safer spot to park, yes, but also a front row seat to one of America's most ingenious experiments in design. The Seneca Aqueduct isn't just a relic. It's a reminder of what happens when we stop following the blueprint and start rewriting it. It's a bridge and a lock, a scar and a triumph, a masterpiece carved by hand and saved by grace. So here's to the rule breakers, the engineers, and the accidental explorers who stumble onto their stories centuries later. And here's to Murph for the wrong turns that somehow get us exactly where we need to be. Until next time, this has been TMP Covert Ops, where every detour is classified and every story's stolen between meetings.